So on my way to work the other week, I gave a homeless chap $5, and the old lady behind me said that he was just going to use that for drugs. I wasn't helping him at all. So I confronted him and asked him where he was getting his drugs for £5 from.
Were you going to work in America? Giving him $5.
I was waiting for that. I was prepped for you, Mr. McManus. I was ready. I
like that I have such an effect on your life that you have to prep for me.
Well, just for your ability to pop what little joy I have in this life.
Oh, I will. I would do my darndest to pop it.
To pop it. Right. Anyway, hello everyone and welcome to the Black Dog version 2 number 88. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
I'm Elton.
Yes, Jim's back. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Woohoo. So there you go.
Andy's front's here as well.
Yeah.
It's not just and the sides. Oh, stop it. You should be playing that every time you open your mouth, Mr. Metcalf. Those fucking jokes.
Oh, I'm never going to get tired of that one. That might replace the foghorn. Anyway. So, yes, hello everyone. So we're going to see how everyone's week's been. We've got some feedback for our last week's episode, which was up. Which it's given us a couple of interesting feedbacks. We'll get to that in a bit, and then we move on to this week's movie, which is your pick, Dal, which was
Idiocracy.
That's right, Idiocracy, the movie which seems to be proceeding every time on the internet with the words, "Is it a documentary yet?" So,
I've got something to say about that, actually. Yes,
I'm sure you have. Well, I'm sure we all have something to say about it. So we'll get to that soon enough. But before we do that, let's find out how everyone's week been, and we'll start with you, Jim. You've been away longest. You've got probably something to say.
Yes, quite a bit actually.
Okay,
I'm trying to rattle through this quickly.
Cool. Okay.
So I've been absent because just at the end of March, my stepdad had a massive heart attack.
Yeah.
And ended up in hospital for about 10 days. I say he was out for quite a while, shocked 7 times with the old defibs.
Yikes.
So he had when he came around, it wasn't entirely sure if he'd have use of his limbs or his faculties or anything like that. And as it was, he made a remarkable recovery. He's still very weak and he's tired. And he has, good days and bad days. But he got home, say, before Easter, and he's out and about. He's doing stuff, and obviously there's a lot of recovering to do.
Yeah.
But it was a very long week, shall we say? Especially he was like in hospital the next town over. That's the fancy cardio unit, which made getting mum to him a bit of a pain, and there was a lot of running around to be done, but that's all worked out. Just as that was getting worked out, I had the second crisis of April.
Oh God, go on.
Now, so as I'm sure most of you know, I have my own Patreon, which largely pays my bills.
Yep.
It was Patreon. It collects your subscription money from people, and then I get it on the 5th of the month. This month, on the 5th of the month, I should explain, when I joined Patreon, they sort of shepherded you into using a service called Payoneer, who they were partnered with.
Oh, God. Okay.
And that's worked absolutely fine.
Okay.
Until the 5th of this month, when suddenly they say, we need to confirm your bank details, blah, blah, blah. Can you scan us the top bit of your bank statement? So, I did that. Then they said, can you confirm your address? And I go, the address is on the bank statement, dickhead.
Yeah.
But if you insist, here's the council tax bill. And then the next email I got from saying, we're closing your account because you violated our terms and conditions.
What?
However, we can't tell you what those terms and conditions are, but bye. And I'm going,
fuck.
Hang on. Well, the money's gone from Patreon.
Yeah.
You've got it. Where is it?
Yeah.
There's
Where's
no
my
way
fucking money?
no way to get in touch with them.
Mm.
I filled in the comedy support ticket on the website.
Oh, God.
I emailed them. I rang them, where I got put onto an automated call answering system, which informed me, you are caller number 7. And 10 minutes later, it told me, you are caller number 8.
Oh,
And
good.
then 5 minutes later, you are caller number 9. At which point I rang up, hung up. I did some research and I find this is happening in rather a lot with Payoneer, strangely enough. And some people literally have thousands and thousands of dollars or pounds missing.
Holy
Of where they
shit.
suddenly close people's accounts for no reason whatsoever. And they're nigh impossible to get hold of.
Yeah.
So I went on the offensive.
Yeah.
I wrote the worst Trustpilot review you've ever seen, calling them thieves.
Yeah.
I put a big post on their Facebook page, which they didn't notice for quite some while, calling them thieves and advising people to close their accounts.
Yeah.
I called them out on Twitter, and a lot of people retweeted that, so that was good. And I emailed their CEO and called him a cunt.
Direct action.
Yes,
Nice.
Then they got in touch with me.
I bet they did.
Are you not impressed? Did they say that? Did they?
But yeah, they claimed that they'd sent the money back. When they closed my account, they sent the money back to Patreon. But there's no money on my Patreon. I emailed Patreon, they went, no.
Yep.
I emailed back and say, well, have you got a transaction code for this? They said, no, we don't do that.
What do you mean you don't do that? Banks do that anyway.
Yeah.
You've got to do that to transfer things electronically.
Yeah.
So I wrote back in saying, if that's money doesn't pay, I will be taking some further more direct action against you. And then I emailed Patreon saying, look, this is what they've said. And I copied the laughable thing they sent me, going, well, we don't have transaction codes. Claiming they were sent it. I mean, the thing is, they claimed they'd sent the money back to me before they'd closed my account.
Yeah.
There was like a discrepancy in the timeline of things happening in this email. And Patreon said, well, we'll look into this now.
Yeah.
And eventually, I mean, by this point, I'd given up on seeing the money at all, frankly. I've read, there's lots of horror stories. I don't know what's going on in that company, but it seems to have gone really badly tits up in the last 6 months. They just randomly close people's accounts, citing violations of terms and conditions.
Yeah.
And when they do that, whatever's in your account vanishes.
So basically, they are thieves.
Yes.
Right,
I mean,
fraud.
as it was, I did. Funnily enough, I think after Patreon poked them with sticks, and there was more complaining done. Literally, like this Friday, Patreon emailed saying, "Oh, we've got the money for you now."
Yeah. I bet they
And I
have.
think you didn't send it back. They just coughed it up. That's
Yeah.
why there was no transaction code.
Yeah.
I mean, as it was, though, I did have some funds in my account which haven't been returned. I mean, it was only like some loose change, literally like 57 cents. But the point is, any money, if I'd had a considerable amount of money in there, that would have vanished. And that would have been a whole different battle to get that.
Yeah.
So if you know anyone who works online and uses Payoneer, tell them to shut their account now. Because from what I read, this hammer can fall at any time. And I think basically everything's outsourced somewhere to some god-awful corn centre. I don't know where. But I think they seem to be, particularly, it seems to happen a lot to small businesses, freelancers, little guys who don't have a legal department, basically.
Yeah.
And I think the staff are robbing people. They're pulling this, close your account, then they pocket the funds in the system.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm funny enough, I'm looking on the Payoneer Reddit page right now, and it does seem to be rather prevalent. And now it seems to be also anyone who uses PayPal.
Yes.
Because PayPal does 2 transactions under $1 to make sure that it works, and apparently that's against their terms of service.
Yeah, it's funny for a financial organisation. I mean, you know, I've used Payoneer for years, and basically all I use it for is my Patreon money goes into the account, Payoneer account, then I withdraw it to my account. But apparently this is like international money fucking laundering to these fucking cretins.
Nice.
So, however, of course, They've not heard the last of me.
Oh.
So I've already lost them a good deal of business. I'm going to lose them a lot more because I think a few words in the right ears of certain financial journalists, this could be quite an interesting story because this is happening an awful lot.
Yeah. Well, like I say, if their Reddit's anything to go by, that I'm staring at now.
And the Trustpilot page is just as bad.
Yeah, I bet it is.
It's full of horror stories. I mean, my favourite one was a guy tried to open an account. They kept asking for documents which they couldn't verify, and this went on for a month. Then, a month later, they sent him in 2 emails within 10 minutes of each other. One email says, "We've opened your account." The second email was, "We've closed your account due to violating our terms and conditions."
Jesus Christ.
You're kidding.
No.
Really?
He'd not even been able to use it. He'd done nothing. He didn't even know he had the account and they'd already closed it.
Right.
Bunch of fuck spanners. Seriously.
Seriously. So if you look on the Trustpilot reviews for Payoneer or the Payoneer Reddit page, or even on their own forums, you find stories that just mangle the mind. I don't know what the fuck is going on with that company. But, someone should do, the humane thing, like we do to a sick otter, bash its fucking brains in with a spade.
Nice. There you go. Job's a good one.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, if you know anyone works online who has a Payoneer account or you think might use Payoneer, tell them, close the motherfucker straight away and get any funds out now.
Yeah. Well,
seriously.
All 15.
I got off lightly, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, all 15 of our listeners will now steer very far away from Payoneer. So we're doing real customer service here. Cool. Okay. Well, yeah. No, definitely. I'm like I say, I'm listening to you and I'm looking at this stuff. I mean, there is stuff on here. I'm just like, oh my God.
In fact, it's horrific, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's like the pinned post by the moderator of the Payoneer Reddit. So it's like the guy who's running the Reddit actually says, "Payoneer is a shit company with 0 customer services. Your funds will be locked and stolen." It's pinned to the top of the fucking Reddit. It's like, well, I guess, as a corporate thing, that's quite
Monty Vicker.
It's transparency, isn't it? Right there. But hey ho. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So we've gone from Black Dog to Watchdog.
Yeah.
Hey,
it's good.
nice.
Hey, there you go.
Which one of us is Anne Robinson?
I think it's got to be you.
Who's the most ginger?
Me? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think Darren is the most ginger as well.
Definitely.
Am I? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Out of the four of us,
I'm the most ginger.
Yeah, you are ginger.
With my brown hair, I'm the most ginger.
Well, I've got black hair and a white beard. Jim's
I've got grey hair.
Yeah. And Elton's
I've got a lot more grey hair now.
And Elton's got no hair. So, I think by just by process of elimination of you being even remotely in the same colour grade as ginger, I think you're already there. There you go.
Yep,
Right.
There's science for you.
That's science.
Yep. In your face, Darren. You're ginger.
Hey, you're not allowed to say ginger. That's our word. Thank you.
All right, then.
Are you reclaiming it already?
I'm reclaiming it, yes, for all gingers. I'm allowed to say it. You're not.
Okay, you're a soulless heathen. How about that?
Yep.
There you go. Right. Okay, then.
Yeah.
We'll leave it there then, I think.
Yeah, leave that there. I've got some other stuff. I'll leave that for next week.
Oh, right. Okay, fair enough. In which case, we'll move on to you then, Elton. How are you? International money laundering? How's that?
I'm swimming in it.
As the head of Payoneer.
Yeah.
But anyway, Elton, sir.
Anyway, on to my fabulous week.
How's your fabulous
really
week?
Happened.
Okay.
So I managed to bump into Carl and Odile, which was really nice.
Okay.
I say bump into. I was supposed to spend the afternoon they went to stay at Tracy Kelk's house.
Mm-hmm.
And I was supposed to go over there for the afternoon. Unfortunately, I was working that day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I managed to get an hour with them before I think I'd done a job in Ilford, had to come all the way home, swung round their house, said hello, popped in. That was it. Couldn't drink because I was driving and at work. And it was like, well, that's it. I'm shattered. I'm going to bed now. And that was my visit, really, which I was embarrassed about. But what can I do? I'm at work. Them's the swings and roundabouts of work. The way that I work at the moment. So, it would have been nicer, but just gutted that I didn't get to see him for longer. Jacob's now home from uni. He's completed his first year at uni.
Blimey!
And,
seems like only about 6 months ago.
I know it's like a real short thing, isn't it?
It's mad.
I don't understand, but it's all. That's it. All the assignments are handed in, and everything's done. And I think it's like September they go back.
Blimey.
So he's got plenty of time to get a job and earn some money. Bloody better, anyway.
Yeah, and it's you I keep seeing logging in on your PlayStation all the time, is it?
No, I haven't logged in that since
yesterday.
At 5:03.
Does it come up with me when I'm just on YouTube or using like Netflix and stuff like that? Would it display that I'm online?
No. You were playing Call of Duty, I believe.
Oh no, that's not me.
Vanguard, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that's not me. I don't even know if we got that. Have we got that?
I think
apparently you have now. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. There's a game I'm not going to play.
Well, there you go.
And it's really nice to have him and his missus over as well. So that's really nice. Pepping up the house as well. So it's good to have everyone back home at the moment. And my tussle, nay, lifelong fight with stress continues. Now, I've had heart palpitations this year, which have been absolutely a riot. I love them little things. They are every single one is like a little jelly tot of joy. That's the way I see it.
It's the jelly wobbles.
Yeah. Oh, they're beautiful little things. I do love them when they come to stay. But I've also got another thing associated with that.
Right.
And that's grinding teeth.
Hey, I think right. Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Stress Cast.
Yeah.
I was going to say, should we just forget films and just talk about various ailments that are...
Well, I thought I might bring this up anyway.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough. I'm only joking. Go on.
I'm just noticing front teeth are starting to get a bit sharp, and all of a sudden, you know when you're eating something.
A werewolf.
Well,
you have a craving for blood, do you, and black pudding?
No,
and
not
aversion
yet.
to sunlight.
No, not yet. But just noticing little things, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, is that grit in my? No, it's not. That's bone. What the hell was that? And it's something breaking up. So I've got to go dentist, basically.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and because I remember last time I went to dentist, and it was a fair few years ago. He did ask me, do I have a stressful job? I was like, well, no more than anyone else. But he noticed that I was chewing the sides of my mouth and
Right.
the side of my tongue as well. And I do that, but now I'm obviously grinding my teeth. And
You're gonna get one of those mouth guards.
I think I probably will. Yeah.
Yeah. Sleep with the mouth guard on.
Yeah. Will that stop it? It's the actual stress that's going to stop it, though, isn't it?
Stress is going to stop it, but to stop you grinding your teeth, these mouth guards are sort of like pretty sort of strong, sort of rubbery kind of material. Yeah. And as you chew on them, you chew on it, but you don't erode your teeth.
Yeah. I feel like this is an episode of Naked Doctor.
I feel like
we've had-
Should we all get our junk out?
I feel like this is an episode of fucking Casualty, to be honest.
Well, I'll get my junk out right now. There we go. Look, I've got like a spare wheel from a small toy car there. What else we got here? There's an Action Man jacket. It's an old toothpaste lid. I don't know.
Darren's school dinner bell.
Yeah. That's called the Oh, God.
So yeah, I've got to deal with this now as well. It's weird because it feels like my jaw has moved to the point where I don't remember where my jaw was, and so now every position feels weird, and I am quite worried about it now. I'm really worried about it. So,
Which is not going to help your anxiety.
No, which brings on them little jelly tots of heart palpitations, which is I love them. They're just lovely little treats of the day.
You know what you need? A night nurse and a straw. just fucking just start drinking that sort of shit around about sort of 5 o'clock in the afternoon and kiss the rest of the evening goodbye.
Yeah, what you need is a banana and a hammer drill. You know, there we go. That's what you need.
Benadryl.
Yeah, Benadryl, yes. A banana and Benadryl.
A banana and Benadryl.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah. That's all you need, mate. Or Mogadoms or a dash of Valium. A dash of Valium from your doctor. He'll take that.
Nice.
Mm.
That'd take the edge off things, wouldn't it?
Oh, that will. That'll chill you the fuck right out. But you got to be careful of that because otherwise you go to sleep forever.
That's not a bad thing. Sometimes I do think maybe that'll be all right. I wouldn't mind that.
Just start playing Comfortably Numb and then just fall asleep.
Yeah.
That'll be the end of that. Oh, well, this is cheerful. All right, then we'll move on to Darren. How's your week been, mate?
It's been all right. Yeah, it's been okay. Not too busy.
Why do I get the feeling that if we got a bag and a broom, we couldn't make like one normal person out of the four of us?
No, we couldn't.
Out of all the
We're all
remaining
broken.
parts.
But we're like one of those, those Japanese robot series where they, the small robots all join together to create one big one.
Not Voltron, Voltarol, I think, at this point.
Yeah, Voltarol.
Voltarol.
Yeah, Voltarol. That's ours. Yes. Yeah. So let me get this straight. My part of the robot is the codpiece. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Well, at this
It'll
point,
have ginger pubes.
Yeah, well, I must admit, in this group, I've always felt like a bit of a cock, but there you are.
Hey. You're not getting a church bell for that one.
No, not at all, not at all. So this week, started off actually going out and being sociable, much like I did a few weeks ago before I caught COVID.
Going out? Oh, God blimey.
No, it's fine. I'm good. I'm okay. But went out to celebrate Mr. Marty Parrott's 50th birthday, along with your good self, Mr. Metcalf.
Yes.
Yep. Going to the Barrow Boy and Banker, which has changed, considering they appear to have had an extension put on the pub now for extra seating, so it's a little bit wider. But the thing they haven't adjusted are the prices in that place, I noticed. So
that's because you're in the centre of London in the financial district.
Yeah. Don't I know it with that pub there? Like, ooh, hello. I better remortgage part of my body.
Yeah. Sell the one good kidney and get rid of it.
Yeah. So, but apart from that, yeah, absolutely great night. Loved it. All I will say is I'm never going to Forbidden Planet to buy anybody a present ever again, because anything below 200 quid is just tat in that place. It really is.
Well, in fairness, everything above 200 quid's tat as well.
Yeah. But it's expensive tat, and you don't feel so bad about giving that over, you see. Because, you can say, well, it might be tat, but it's really expensive tat, and you can see it's expensive tat. So,
yes.
So, that was such a depressing walk around that place. It's like when we get there, just before I got there, Marty's going on about, I really hate Funko Pops. And it's like, oh no, I'm going to the house of Funko Pops. Funko Pops and anime. There you go. That's where I'm going. And he likes neither of those. So
so that's what Forbidden Planet stands for now. It's like Funko Pops. That's what the FP is.
Indeed, Funko Pop City.
I mean, because that's all I saw when I went round.
What? Really?
It's just anime. It's just anime big titty like waifs, and then you turn around and there's like a wall of Funko Pops, and it's just like, is this it? Is this what science fiction has been devolved to?
It's literally taken over. Where you used to have down there, you used to have a great big massive area for comics. Now it's like the comics are in one small square down there, and the rest of it is anime and Funko Pops.
Oh, and Hero Clicks or whatever the fuck they are.
Was there? Oh, I didn't know. So it was just,
depressing.
It was depressing. It was depressing. I mean, yes, there is the book section. That book section that's got so many books in it that words are just fucking shapes in my eyes after a while. I can't read anything because it's all the same cheap novel, with the same subject. Oh, Jesus, what's that fucking famous series, Midshipman's Woes or whatever, the one about the Earth battle cruisers, done like the old naval time.
The
Midshipman. There's Midshipman's something or other, and then it goes on to was it
Hope.
Lieutenant's? Yeah, that's it. Midshipman's Hope, that kind of thing. But it's like, whereas you've got that series, which I enjoyed reading, you've got 1,001 cheap knockoffs of that and it's the same for everything. Every good novel you've read, they've got 1,001 cheap and cheerful knockoffs of that same series, and it's just I like I say, I stopped reading anything at all. It was just like, what are these strange hieroglyphics on these wads of papers that they've got on these shelves? What do you mean it's English? But I can't understand a single. Oh, I've done it again, haven't I? I've overloaded my brain. Right.
I've overthought it.
Exactly. I'm going to the pub. Goodbye. Oh, man. So there we go. So, but no, the night in general, really enjoyed it. It was good to see everybody have a good laugh,
Yeah.
So there we go. Excellent stuff. TV front. I took a bit of a step back in time because I realised I hadn't watched any Doctor Who stuff in the past year. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I watched about 3 episodes of the last thing, Doctor Who Flux. And so
Which
I've
is a
gone
typo.
back. Yeah, exactly. But I've gone back to watch that. And there's bits that it keeps flashing back to from the last season before that I didn't remember actually watching. Goes to show how much I was paying attention. So I think I might have to go back and watch some past stuff. Because I do remember liking the last season, the one that came just before this, because I thought they actually tried to give her a bit more of a personality rather than someone who goes around saying, my fam, all the fucking time. Jesus Christ almighty, that just annoyed the shit out of me.
So you haven't watched her second season then?
Yeah, this is the thing, I've watched it and I actually did quite like it because I thought, she started getting a bit more aggressive in that.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't so fluffy anymore. It's like in this Flux one, she actually turns around to one of her companions and says, does everything have to be a conversation? And it's not done in a jokey way either. It's like, all right, go fuck yourself. It's that,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and watch it again. There's things about her previous lives as well that comes up that I found quite interesting. So
okay,
yeah, I'm not finding the Flux one too bad at the minute. The payoff, I don't think I don't think the payoff's going to land. It's not going to stick to the landing.
He's not even going to find the fucking landing strip, mate. He's just going to ditch in the sea.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, I'm prepared. I'm prepared for that then. So, okay. So there was that. And the last thing I have watched this week is the the entire back catalogue of James Bond movies has come to Amazon.
Oh yes.
So I've got to watch the one that I've not seen yet of Daniel Craig's run, which is No Time to Die. I wish I could make comment on it here, because this, I mean, it goes to a place that no other James Bond film has ever been to before.
You know what I mean now, don't you? Because I was going on about this when I saw it at the cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I kind of like that. I like the fact that where it goes, especially considering it's Craig's last film, and he really doesn't give a shit anyway.
Clearly,
that's it. I'm done. I'm gone. Yeah, I know what you mean about the bad guy. The bad guy was very throwaway. What's his face? The guy from Mr. Robot. Remy Malek. Remy Malek. Yeah.
Guy played, what was it, Freddie Mercury?
Yeah. Interesting to begin with at the start. It's quite creepy. Assassin shows up in this. It's a kabuki mask, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's just got that, and he's like, toting a machine gun, kills a person quite violently, and then goes to chase the child of this person that's running out of the house. So nice start, I thought. But then you realise that the bad guy is just there to keep the running time of the film going, so they can tell you, the personal stuff about James Bond. That's what that is. And I didn't mind the personal stuff so much at all. Like I say, it was okay. I didn't think a lot of people raving about it being the best James Bond film ever. No. But then I'm sorry if this is going to offend anybody's ears, but the James Bond films are pretty throwaway anyway.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, who the fuck buys a James Bond box set? Seriously.
At this point.
Yeah. There's fucking, it's like Monopoly sets, right? And chess sets.
Right.
That when they start selling geeky versions of those, you get like a Fallout version of Monopoly or a Friends version of Monopoly. It's just fucking Monopoly.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still an argument in a box.
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's still that, but it's themed to something you like, which you will hate, because if you play that game, right?
Yep.
If you play that version of Monopoly, right, that's skinned in your favourite thing, you will be scarred. And you will not enjoy that thing that you enjoyed before, because you will remember the fucking Monopoly game that's wrapped up in it and the fucking arguments you had that led to, I don't know, maybe a divorce or maybe a murder. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Man. So, yeah, James Bond films, they're enjoyable fluff for the most part, I think. And this was all right. This was okay. It left some stuff to be desired. But the other 00 agent. The other 00 agent. Why did they have to give the other 007 agent the attitude that they gave her? Why? Because that's just like, no, come on. That's punching down, man. That's,
I can't say a thing, because I've got so many thoughts about No Time to Die, and I did intend to make that my film for next week. But
we can do that. We can do that.
No, you've bloody watched it now.
Well, it doesn't matter. Well, I can still review it, and I can actually get it off my chest what I want to say.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I might have changed my mind by then.
Okay, but if you want to do that, then that's fine.
Okay.
Don't mind that at all. So
we'll see. We'll see.
Cool. Well, that's me done.
That's you done, is it?
That's me done. Yes.
Okay. Well, I will. Because we got some feedback to get through. But okay. Let's just go through this then. Well, my week. I went to the Tate Modern on Friday, which should be called the line between art and arse is very, very, very fine. There was stuff in there that I thought was okay, and that I had to sort of read me little things and see me cards and go, oh, okay, that's what they're trying to say about that. And then there was other stuff where I was just like, you are taking the piss. And for example, in one stand, in one display in the middle of a completely white room, there's this big singles display, and inside that single display is a house brick with some post-it notes on it, and it's called Radio. Radio.
Yeah.
Because apparently the where it was made, or the place it was representing, weren't allowed radios. So what people would do in peaceful protest was take a brick, put some paper on it, post-it notes, and then leave it standing in the wind so it would still make noise. So it was a brick that made noise.
So let me get this straight,
isn't it?
Yeah, go on.
Right, let me get this straight.
Yeah.
The bloke or woman who actually made that thing, it's not even something original that they've thought of.
No.
They've nicked someone else's fucking work. This is plagiarism, and they've probably been paid a shit ton of money for it.
Well, I don't know, because there was all sorts like that. There was some art which was just like confounding, and you just got to go, okay, I don't understand it, but let's at least read this. Read the signs beside it.
Read the tenuous link between this thing that looks like a fucking orange on a cocktail stick and.
Well, the one that really took the winning trophy for "You Are Now Taking the Piss." Right, I'm going to read you the caption, because I took the photograph of the caption and the thing. Right, so I will read this to you, and tell me if you think you know what this thing is. I might have to sort of skip around certain pieces because it might explain it. But here we go. Can colour be an idea?
Oh, I know what this is.
It's actually a funny process. How many packets I've opened and checked the contents, which are white, and then not bought them. And basically, it should be equal or come close to the picture of white. Seal Foyer. That's the name of the artist. What do you think is the piece of art that accompanies that caption?
Well, I'm going to sit this one out because I know it. I know it.
Jim?
Box of Tic Tacs.
Okay. Elton, what do you think it is?
A box of tissues.
Wrong. Though you are both kind of on the right track. What it actually is a co-op receipt. An actual receipt that has white potatoes, white diced onions, white mushrooms, a loose garlic, some organic flour, white, Philadelphia cheese, white, Hellman's mayonnaise, basmati rice, white pepper, white marzipan, mint imperials, a white Scotch egg, white napkins, Colgate Advanced White, and toilet tissue white with some paracetamol, also white. So it's a receipt for primarily white goods.
The artist has not even created that receipt. The receipt was made by a fucking machine.
And the person...
no, it's the idea.
The idea.
No,
it is the idea. It's like that banana that was sellotaped to the wall a couple of years ago.
I think they made that up because he's noticed things a fucking white Scotch egg or white marzipan, not outside racist streams.
So yeah, marzipan white, one packet, £2 it was from Co-op in Dulwich.
Was this research for Idiocracy by any chance?
No, it's not. Sorry. Oh, in tofu. I forgot tofu. Sorry, what was that, Elton?
How do we get put forward to go into this?
I don't know.
I'm sure we could come up with something.
I genuinely don't know.
Why don't we just...
We should make some shit up.
We should get like a mountain bike and just de-lock it to I don't know, a drain. There you go. Done.
Well, I'm very much of the opinion that nowadays what happens is they take the idea and then make something up to fit the idea. So actually, artists nowadays are better writers than they are artists.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, as because we did go out for a drink with Jen Williams and Marty and all that lot. But as Jen rightly points out, art's there to make you discuss it. We've been discussing it, so job done, I guess. So,
but
gotcha.
Isn't that just a nice fallback argument?
I don't know. I think there's something to be said for it because because the thing is, what we are discussing it.
No, because if it's bollocks, it's bollocks.
Let's discuss how bollocks it is.
If it is bollocks, and we all sit around and we agree, this is bollocks. That is not being artistic. Oh, it's making you discuss it. No, it's shit. That's it. That's what it boils down to.
Yep.
None of this fall back onto wait, if it's art, it's making you discuss it, and therefore it has completed its journey. Bollocks. No, I said it's bollocks. That is it. It's bollocks.
Okay.
Art is subjective, man. Art is subjective.
Art is subjective. Yeah.
Yeah. What you think of it,
but some of it can still be utter shit done by charlatans.
My point being is that, if somebody comes back to you and says, well, you're not seeing it, man, you're not cultured enough, it's like, no, fuck off. No, my opinion of this is just as valid as your fucking opinion. Okay, you say it's art, I say it's fart. Okay, that's
art
it.
Or arse. That was how I phrased it.
Art or fart. Yeah, art or arse.
Yeah, art or arse. So there you go. So that was my culture moment. And the other thing we've started watching, and I think Elton had something to say about this last time, but was Reacher on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah. It's throwaway. It's silly. It's not particularly sort of essential watching, but given some of the shit that you sit there and you watch like 72 episodes of, and then someone comes along and goes, if only you'd stuck to 73 episodes. It seems it's a lot more get in, get out, be pretty simple. Murder, mystery, big bloke the size of a small daft truck going around and basically putting people to the ground. I mean, it fills a hole, so to speak. It's fun. It has some witty dialogue, some not so witty dialogue. Jack Reacher seems to be from the school of he's brilliant at everything because he's brilliant at everything because he's brilliant because I say he's brilliant. School of character making, but
right.
So there's a lot of that where you'll just sit there and roll your eyes because like you. 1 minute he'll just go, oh yeah, this is how, the Sherlock Holmes, I've looked in this room for 30 seconds and I've automatically discerned the psychological profile of everyone in this room sort of thing. And you're like, dude, it looks like you can't even bend over to tie up your shoelaces without ripping your shirt from all the abs. What the fuck is going on here, mate? What do you do with your spare time? Do you just study psychological profiles and work out while also learning multiple combat techniques and where every paramilitary in the entire universe comes from? I mean, it's that kind of, okay, right, fine. Yeah, did I tell you that I was a nuclear scientist back in the day? Oh, come on. So it's that kind of thing. It's just, he just pulls new things that he's the best, brilliant, most brilliant, this best thing ever out of his arse. So,
did you know I was a black belt in origami?
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yes, I see. This is Tempest grass, and this only comes from a particular location in the southwestern delta of the Mississippi. What's it doing here in Florida? It's just like, oh my good lord!
Bit of an unfortunate name, though, isn't it? Really, when you think about it,
Jack Reacher?
Yeah, well, his last name Reacher. Do you think his mates do that thing where they do the same joke? They go around looking for him. They say, "Is Reach around?"
Bum dum bum dum dum. Anyway, hold on. That does deserve a. I
Thank
think
you.
It does.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
there
like.
you go.
I thought
That
it deserved
deserved the
recognition.
Pornhub jingle.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I still haven't got that on yet. Damn.
What jingle?
The Pornhub jingle. Dum
Oh,
dum 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 dum. Bop.
Because it was a load of wank. I know.
Anyway, so it's not something I'd recommend because, you know, other people will have a different tolerance for this kind of ever so super perfect, brilliant person, the best person in the entire brilliant world.
MacGyver fans.
Exactly. So, you know, some people will like that, some people won't. If it sounds like your thing, it's worth a look. It would be, if it wasn't on Amazon, it would be on a Saturday afternoon if they took the swearing out.
Between Magnum and fucking Murder, She Wrote. There
Exactly. Right there.
Columbo.
Yeah.
Crossover. Magnum, she wrote.
Magnum, she wrote.
Hey, they did actually do a crossover episode.
I knew you were going
Those
to bring that up.
Yep, they did. They did a two-parter.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to talk about Murder, She Wrote. Just no way. No. And that's about it, really. Yeah, not really an awful lot going on with me, but I think anyone who's still listening after 57 minutes will be quite glad about that. Right. So, we're going to move on to some feedback very quickly. And to cut a long story short, I was one of the things that came up in last week's episode was the thing about does anyone actually watch sad movies to watch sad movies? And we couldn't really work out whether people actually deliberately went off and watched them, because I couldn't work out if they would. And because we only watched Bloody Up because we had to. If you know what I mean. None of us were willing to go and watch it otherwise. So we got a couple of bits of feedback on this. And the first one was from Murray the Pie Man Christensen, who said, great cast, guys. On the subject of people who jump in with the "it didn't make me cry" or the tech support "mine is working," my wife got the same on maternity forums when she was pregnant, on both the bad morning sickness and insomnia forums as well, where there was a woman went into both just to say she didn't have either. I swear there are people who are absolutely convinced that if you want their opinion on everything. Can you imagine in real life, in a pub, talking about a film and some rando walks up and says, "I couldn't help but overhearing, but I'd just like to give you my opinion on the film you're currently discussing." In short, does all that happen because it's really hard to glass someone over the internet? Sorry, this was referring to the other thing which I was talking about, which was like the fact that the movies make people sad, and you go, "I'm about to watch Up," and then like on the Reddit movie site, the first thing they do is go, "Well, it didn't work on me. I don't know why everyone's being upset. Didn't make me sad." It's just like, great, congratulations. So, and but onto the sad bit itself. Anthony James also writes in to say, "Listen to the Up episode this morning, and I was interested in the question about whether people enjoy heartbreakingly sad movies or not. As with many people in this group," this was on the Facebook group, "I suffer from depression. My own depression takes many forms, and a form of emotional numbness. I can go for days, weeks, months of just empty nothingness. I'm not happy, but I'm also not sad either, just hollow. I actually enjoy being made to feel sad at these times because at least I feel something. For this reason, I kind of enjoy, if that's a word for it, emotionally moving sad songs and stories with sad endings. And that includes movies. It's probably not healthy, maybe even harmful to my mental health. But when I'm feeling really numb, I like to wait until it's late. Everyone's gone to bed, then sit in the dark on my own and watch something like Grave of the Fireflies. I don't even... Jesus Christ.
Crikey.
I enjoy quietly weeping. I feel like I sometimes need to do this to move on. Doesn't always work, though. No, indeed. And Stephen Moody followed that up with, it's a hard one to answer. I enjoy sad movies, happy movies, and all sorts. They can move you and give you an emotional response at the time, and I think that it can be a good thing. I'm the same in fact that I can feel nothing for a lot of the time. Movies and TV don't really change the depression, but it can sometimes make me forget the problems for a short while. Some can make you remember loss. Some can take you back to simpler times. Sometimes it helps just to see others are struggling as well. I speak for myself here, but I'm sure there are others that will agree. If you're having low moments, then talk to somebody. Post it in the group or contact myself, that's him, or somebody else to chat privately if you prefer.
Sorry, just to go off on that as well.
Yeah.
I think I do it with music.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I'll listen to like some real morose type music, only so I can sit there and go, well, it ain't so bad, is it? It's not that bad.
Well, that is part of it, isn't it? You know, you can do it you can send you one of two ways. Either it's not as bad as all that, or you can go, I mean, you know, secretly, even if I don't want to admit it, I enjoy feeling sad.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's kind of where I was coming from in many ways when I was asking the question last week. But it was just like that whole thing of if you're feeling nothing, then feeling something's got to be a start.
Yeah,
I suppose. I mean, you know, I don't want to generalize on everyone. I mean, fucking hell, I'm not that episode of Picard where he just turns around and solves someone manic depression by just going, pick yourself up, dust yourself down, and start all over again. You'll be fine. Off to Europa with you. Silly old cunt. Anyway, so
Our words to live by.
Well, he did. He literally, in the whole episode, the whole series has been pivoting around his great ancestor who suffered from this terrible mental health issue that stopped her from going to Europa, and literally he dodders out in the middle of a party and tells her in 2 minutes to basically, you know, fucking
give us a smile.
Yeah, go on, you should smile more, get a grip and look at this model of spaceship. Go on, off you go. And she's just like, oh, I've been saved. My brain is fixed. Thank you. And then someone runs him over, which is fucking the least he deserves. The writers fucking deserve it for writing that tosh. Anyway, so if anyone has any feedback for anything, then by all means, you know, send it in. You know the channels. You've got the Facebook group, the feedback on the email, and on Twitter. Right, okay, time for a break. Jump into the jingles, and then we will be back to discuss Idiocracy. Roll the jingle.
Ooh, we're watching a new movie we've never seen before. I'm buttering my nipples and waxing my ass. Roll up the Mystery Monica film. Roll up for the Mystery Monica film. Roll up
masturbation
for the Mystery Monica film. Roll up for the Mystery Monica film. The Mystery Monocle film is waiting for us to hit play. Going to watch it today, what will we say?
Right, so Idiocracy is a 2006 American science fiction comedy film directed by Mike Judge, who did such things as King of the Hill and, Beavis and Butthead and Office Space, and was co-written by Judge and Elton Cohen. It stars Luke Wilson, Maya Rudolph, and Dax Shepard and Terry Crews. The film tells the story of Joe Bowers, played by Wilson, an U.S. Army librarian who, along with a prostitute, Rita, played by Maya Rudolph, takes part in a government hibernation experiment. The experiment goes awry, and Joe awakens in the year 2505 in a dystopian world that is incredibly dumbed down by mass commercialism, mindless TV programming, and he has found himself the smartest man on the planet. The movie had a budget of $2 to $4 million. How much do you think it made? Darren.
Ooh, The numbers. The
numbers.
Oh, my balls, man. Yeah, that.
Right. Okay. Jim?
I like money.
I like money. Fair enough. Elton?
I'm not sure.
The problem is, I don't feel like we've moved. I don't feel like we're parodying the movie yet. When's that going to happen? Anyway, well, in answer to your not asked question, it only earned $495,000, making it quite a significant flop. Though there was a lot of story about the production going on, and Fox trying to bury it almost immediately, and lots of companies getting upset that their names were included in certain scenes, especially a certain coffee company. Which, but anyway, yeah. So
extra foamy latte,
extra foamy latte. God, I could go with them right now. Anyway, so we're going to go around the table. Darren, you picked this, so you go last, my friend. Mm-hmm. And we'll just quick overview what everyone thought of it, and we'll start with you, Jim. What did you think of Idiocracy?
Well, I'd not seen this before. I had heard a fair bit about it, and then I think I'd got to say I'd heard a bit too much, and it was kind of, all right, I need to leave this a while till I forget what I've heard.
Yeah,
from people telling me the jokes, which sometimes happens with these sort of cult comedies. I quite enjoyed it. As I say, I thought it was. I mean, it is ahead of its time, shall we say, as a film, and somewhat a good deal more on the nose now than it probably was back in 2006.
Yeah. Fair enough. So, cool. Okay. And what about you, Elton?
I hated it.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Absolutely hated it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get any enjoyment out of it whatsoever.
Mm.
It didn't make me chuckle. I just... It's weird because I'm going to say it's dumb, but people then say, well, that's the idea of it. No. Once again, no. It can just be shit, and this was a perfect example of a film that should never really exist, in my opinion.
Okie dokie.
Just didn't do anything.
Okay. For me, I saw this as basically two parts, basically a collection of skits and ideas that would have been fine as a 5-minute YouTube thing. In fact, I think they should have stopped after the first sort of explaining everything. That whole bit at the beginning with the high IQ couple and the low IQ couple. I think that was the film in a nutshell. And you sort of watched that and you thought, yay, okay, that's funny, clever. I'm down with that. And then after that, it was just a collection of ideas looking for a movie to hang off of. And while there were bits I enjoyed in terms of the ideas, I never found myself so much as even grinning. So I guess from that point of view, I wasn't terribly impressed with it. I appreciated the ideas of certain bits of it and certain things that highlighted, and I sort of thought they were clever. And in other bits, I just was just like, oh, come on, you're just aiming low and just you're trying too hard. So it was kind of like a weird seesaw for me. There were moments where I was going, yeah, fair enough, but there was other bits where I was just sitting there going, oh, just fuck off. So there you go. And Darren, what about you, mate?
Okay, so I'll be honest. I enjoyed it. There is stuff that made me chuckle, and then when I was chuckling at it, I stopped and started getting very worried. because I was chuckling at it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same bit that the characters, the stupid, was it Dax Shepard's character was laughing at, which was Ow, my balls.
Yeah.
So it just because it's like, this is crazy, fucking ridiculous. And I sat there chuckling, right?
Yeah.
Because of how crazy that was. But I've got to say, I watched it again this morning because I thought I don't think I missed anything in it when I watched it last night, but I'll give it another watch today. And I got halfway through it and I got into work, and as I switched it off, right, it's me thinking, all right, well that's it's a funny little film. That bit that people say that this is a documentary, right? Okay, yeah, kind of that. I closed the film down. As I did that, I see a tweet came up, right, from was it Marina Sirtis, that says it said fucking Florida's really lost it, and I thought, what the fuck is that then? And I clicked on the link, and it was the story about 57 textbooks have been banned from being in schools, right, because apparently they feature critical race theory. And it's like, seriously? But then you realise, you then read on and you realise what the books actually were. Now, are they storybooks? No. Are they historical documents? No. They are mathematics books. Maths books. Maths books are being banned because apparently they feature critical race theory. And I thought, maybe there's a bit more to this movie. Yeah. Maybe this is a documentary.
Fair enough.
It's just, you see, it's like coming off the back of that, I see that, and it's just, that's too much of a fucking coincidence. Yeah. Really. I mean, come on, man. I mean, Florida has got a bad enough reputation as it is. Why you want to come and bring it down anymore by doing shit like this? You know?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, we're getting away from that because, to be quite honest, there is nothing that surprises me anymore with people being ridiculously fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And so I think it would be very easy just to point at this film and go, look, there's people being stupid in real life. This film is so prophetic. And it's like, is it though? Because, people haven't just suddenly magically become dumber. And certainly not in the difference between 2006 and 2022. I mean, 16 years isn't like a massive time jump. It isn't like fucking Buck Rogers. I mean, people were stupid back then. Florida Man was a thing already.
Yep, just we didn't have the internet.
And what, now we 2006?
No, but back in history, it's always been this stupid, right? I reckon. And it's only because the advent of things like the internet, with things like Twitter, that people probably think that people have just got more stupid. It's like, no, people have always been this fucking stupid. You just know more about it now. That's it.
Yeah,
it's just advertised a lot more.
Well, that's right, and that's the thing. You even back in the day, you got people sticking. People getting arrested, running out of newsagents with 6 cream eggs up their bum. Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's not suddenly a magical phenomenon that's just magically happened. We got fucking morons on this earth. You know what I mean? It's not suddenly sprung into life.
No.
I think we're just more aware of it. But anyway, okay then. So just to kick it all off then. What did you think? What did you think of the story? Because the story throws this whole idea of going forward into the future and everything being so stupid and everyone becoming stupid. Did you think the story itself, premise aside, that the story itself was actually any good? I'll throw that to you, Darren, and then Jim, and then we'll go to Elton.
The story was basically the framework to hang the rest of the stuff on. That's it. I know that sounds like that was it. Football's a game of two halves. It's that kind of fucking statement, but you needed something in there to piece all those bits together. I mean, this isn't the first time this subject has been brought up about, the future being crazy. You had this in Woody Allen's The Sleeper, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't remember what The Sleeper was like. I think this was probably a little bit more rough around the edges than that film. Not that I'm a great fan of Woody Allen. But, the story, it got the job done. That's it. It got the person to where they needed to be. I mean, they could have done it like Mel Brooks' History of the World, Part 1, right? They could have done it like that. They could have jumped from era to era to show how stupid it gets. But, no. I suppose it's a story like the one-eyed man is king in the kingdom of the blind. That's basically what this was. Because he was no fucking genius, but he was just average intelligence.
Yeah. Fair enough. What about you, Jim? Did you like the story, or was the story, like Darren was saying, just like a coat hanger for the ideas?
It is like a close horse storyline. And I would agree it is it's like a series of sketches. And I think it's like a lot of comedy films, they struggle to reach feature length. Because you go one way, you either say, right, we've got to tell a story, and the comedy takes a backseat.
Yeah.
Or they say, let the jokes in, and the story takes a backseat. And it's very hard to get the balance, which is why comedy, it works well as a stand-up set, it works well as a sitcom or a sketch show. But there's very few things that can stick a full hour and a half without, just doing a lot of paddling, basically.
Yeah.
And there's an old thing in film studies, and it's I don't always agree with it, because it's one of those sort of snap things people latch upon and say, voiceovers are terrible, you should never use a voiceover in a movie, which is absolute arse, to be honest. If you use voiceover properly, i.e. say Taxi Driver, or Stand By Me, you couldn't tell that story without the voiceover.
No.
So it's not necessarily a bad thing. But I felt in this movie, often you had that voiceover coming in, and it was all right, you just told me something there. It'd have been funnier if you'd actually showed me that as a scene.
Yeah.
And that's where it's it's just that's where the storytelling is weak. I know it's this is a Mike Judge, and he's coming from a TV and animation background, and it's this would probably work better as actually an animated film. But it's the thing about the how he persuades them to water the plants. Yeah. By eventually just giving up and lying, and claiming he can talk to plants. that was a great scene you could have done, rather than just do that in voiceover.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, like the escaping from the prison, which was the same sort of deal, which to me reminded me of Life of Brian. Crucifixion? No, freedom. What?
There's nothing wrong, I can go.
Oh, well, jolly good. No, it's all right. It's really crucifixion. Second door down, one cross each. Yeah, I know. Anyway, sorry, Jim, carry on.
But no, I thought there's a few instances it was there's things I did find funny, but it's it could have been there was more to be done with this concept. And sometimes I think they really threw away what could have been really really funny scenes by just basically, like the Tate Modern, the modern concept art approach of this looks like a little pile of shit, but this card will tell you why it's art.
Yeah.
And it's and it was sometimes the voiceover was good. Well, here's some jokes we didn't write, just to get us to the next scene. It's it'd been funny if we'd actually had that scene, to be honest, the one you gave us.
Yeah. Yeah, I go along with that. Yeah. And what about you, Elton?
Well, I found it tedious. I found it really, really tedious. But the story, Futurama's done this better.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
that only went 1,000 years into the future, didn't it?
Yeah. Went to the year 3001.
You know, there are some like hidden messages in this, a bit like Wall-E, which, as discussed last time, I hate. And you have all the rubbish, and we haven't sorted out the rubbish, and it just seems that there was something there, but you didn't quite get what you had.
Yeah.
And it was, well, the future's stupid, so let's just stick with that. Okay, but you have messages here which you could kind of work into your tapestry. No, future is stupid, and everyone's going to be stupid and have like a drool on them, and they're going to be really stupid, and they still have this system, but they're all stupid. Okay, so now I think that the thing that bugged me as well was when they're doing like the is it irrigation with all the crops, and they're spreading all this green
Mountain Dew
type
or is,
thing, and then they're talking about what put water in it, what, from the toilet. In my head, they would have worked out a system where they would have removed the water from the toilet and used this Mountain Dew type thing in there. And it just didn't. There's something not quite working there. It's like, well, no, they would have moved on from that. If they want this liquid everywhere, then they would have removed water entirely. It just didn't. I didn't find it funny. I found it boring. There were no moments where I found it nearly redeemed itself or anything like that. It was just very, very forgettable. Instantly forgettable as well.
I mean, I just to follow up on that. I mean, firstly, Futurama came out in 1999, so it predated this film by about sort of 7 years. And when it was first on Fox, it finished in 2003, 2004. So it was well gone by the time.
It's been and gone, yeah.
Yeah, it's been and gone. So all the ideas there were probably used up. But I think for me, the problem is that when it was the short skit, the opening thing, which I do think that bit was genius because that explained everything. That's what you needed to know. And to me, that kind of did what it needed to do. It gave you this kind of premise of kind of like smart people don't procreate because they're too smart. And then all of a sudden they find themselves kind of putting themselves out of the gene pool because they're too responsible. Whereas the irresponsible thickos are just procreating everywhere. And you end up with like trillion kids coming off of like one guy deciding to bone his neighbor. You know what I mean? And it's just like, okay. And the thing I found was that in little bits you could find something interesting in them. So the idea that this global ultra mega corp everyone works for, and so by working for everyone it becomes essentially the government. I thought that was in itself quite a clever idea, and it's that kind of sci-fi dystopian, companies run everything kind of thing. And so I'm like, oh, right, okay, that's a cool idea. And, then if instead of being like, I don't know, an Amazon or, sort of Google or one of these kind of, massive super high tech things, what if it was Coca-Cola that did it, one or fucking Lucozade, then you'd end up with this situation where everyone's just convincing themselves. The problem I had with the story was the story didn't engage me. So as soon as it didn't engage me, you're left only with the skits and your brain's just freewheeling. And as soon as I started to do that, I'm just sitting there, and you should be doing this with a comedy, but you're sitting there literally going, well, if all of them are too thick to do anything, how do they maintain these machines?
Mm-hmm. How do they build cars?
How do they build cars? How do they make an irrigation system in the first place? How do they feed themselves as they currently do? You know, and the problem is it's not really a film that's supposed to have that kind of scrutiny on it right from the start. You're not supposed to be sitting there going, oh, how do these thickos build a 60-foot tall fucking killer sort of like monster truck that can't fit through a door? But that's the problem. As soon as the humor's gone and the story's not engaging, you're just sitting there going, well, how does this work then?
you start dissecting the world, and you're like, well, someone has to maintain these buildings.
Yeah.
Someone has to design the electric car.
Yeah. You telling me that these guys are so thick that, frankly, there was all you need is one decent fire and the whole population of the Earth would be destroyed. You know, because they'd be pouring a sugary drink onto a fire.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay.
Well, it is one of them movies where it doesn't. It's wrong to scrutinise it like that. I think the way that I think it is wrong for me to break the world down into that sort of little chunks. It's like watching Cars and going, but why do they have doors?
What's inside them?
Yeah. Why the fuck do they have doors? What happened there?
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It's fun to do it, but it's not necessary. It's only there to critique it and to kick it in the balls, basically.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm doing because I have nothing else from this. You know, the ball kicking TV show, it is just a representation of trashy TV. And it doesn't mean that they just watch ball kicking constantly. It means that we have devolved into a society where we just watch trashy TV constantly because that's all we can get and that's all that entertains us because we don't know any better.
Oh, okay. I mean, going on to that ball kicking thing and going around the table again. I mean, do you think? I mean, what do you? How can I put this? Do you think it's true? You know, it's saying something about our media, or is it just low hanging fruit, that gag? Do you think?
I think it is saying something about our media today.
Okay.
As I've always said, it's, you know, you just see how it's all going.
Mm.
Right? A lot of the most popular programs are just brainless.
Mm.
Love Island, X Factor.
Gosh, yeah.
It's these quick hit fame shows.
Mm.
Come on, make a fucking tit of yourself and you will become famous. Let's celebrate the stupid in society. Why would we celebrate people who've actually got some idea about things? Right? Let's take some bloke who hasn't got a fucking clue of how to do his fucking shoelaces up and let's make him a star. There you go. All because he can't figure that out. Let's celebrate that, shall we? Let's celebrate this. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
No, but I mean, that's the whole point, isn't it? I mean, this film is supposed to work on two, maybe three levels. One is an indictment on society and where it's going, and two, it's supposed to be a comedy, just to entertain, and then the third one is probably a satire of, you know, corporate America, really. You know, the fact that he turns up, says, "Am I going crazy?" to a doctor, and the doctor immediately gives him a bill for $1 billion. You know, so there's lots of kind of satire in there, and that's what I was going to say was, you know, is it really saying something, or is it just taking swipes? Jim, it sounded like you were going to step in and say something there.
Well, the thing is, 2006, this, like the "Oh My Balls" thing, this is coming off the back of the height of Jackass's popularity.
Yeah.
Mm.
But also at that point as well, that's probably the rise of YouTube becoming a thing. of where a lot of people are doing that, essentially just posting videos of dumb shit, and the internet kind of approaching a tipping point of where we let the morons on, basically.
Yeah.
And it's sad but true. I work very hard researching an in-depth film show, but I get an infinite amount more viewers if I just videoing myself lighting my own farts.
Yeah.
That's where we're at, and that's this. The oh my balls thing I thought was just a bit. I wasn't quite inventive enough, but I did kind of find kind of like the beta channel.
Yeah.
And the porn he's actually watching is going, that's probably actually more prophetic, because, in a world where you can see absolutely everything, probably by 500 years in the future, that kind of niche foot fetish stuff would be on mainstream TV.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that sort of thing, that was that, and I think that's the problem. That sort of thing was kind of like, it swung wildly between sort of making a point and then other times just going for such low-hanging fruit like the oh my balls that you just kind of like, are you saying something about these media, or are you just filling time with like cheap gags? And that's where I kind of was all over the place with it, because it's like, as you say, the beta channel, and then but then funny enough, I was watching this morning just because I was just kind of like just chilling for 5 minutes while my computer was rendering. I watched an episode of Love, Sex, Death on Netflix, and it's the one with the 3 robots. Mm-hmm. And there's a bit where the 3 robots have come to a totally destroyed Earth, and they see a cat, and they're staring at the cat, and one of the robots turns to the other and goes, "They made an entire worldwide network to study these things." And that to me had more sort of biting sort of stab at the internet than just ow my balls, which kind of seemed to just go straight for like the low hanging fruit, pardon the pun, of just going, oh look, someone's getting themselves kicked in the balls, and then they come back to that later on when he tries to sing the national anthem. So yeah, that was kind of where my problem with it lies. It's like, for every kind of clever little satire thing, you've got 3 Beavis and Butthead gags, about farts, willies, and shit. And it's just...
Which must have felt dated in 2006.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it has become a cult movie. I don't think... I don't think it's people judge it as harshly as all that, especially when I look at some of the reviews online. It is a bigger deal. I mean,
really?
Oh God, yeah. Seriously. I mean, even the fucking Guardian gave it big thumbs up. I mean, I know we don't normally do this anymore with going through the wiki, but the reception, the film wasn't screened for critics because Fox tried to bury it, yeah? But like John Patterson, UK critic for The Guardian, wrote, Idiocracy isn't a masterpiece, but it is endlessly funny. Saying that he saw the film in a half-empty theatre and 2 days later came back for a second screening and the place was packed out. And I wonder whether or not it's... And I mean no disrespect to you, Jim, or Darren, because you both like it. But in general, if it makes people who don't normally watch satire feel smarter.
Could very well be.
Do you know what I mean? It's like when you watch something like, I don't know, In the Thick of It, which is just whip smart satire. But what you've got in this is you've got very surface level satire, very flat stuff. I can hear someone drawing breath. Who wants to speak up? Because
Sorry,
I can't
that was
see
me
it.
drinking.
Oh, right. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, maybe this is a film of its time. I know that's pretty strange to say that about a science fiction film, but maybe it is a film of its time. Maybe, maybe when it really works. Because I think me and Jim will both agree anyway that, we've seen this kind of thing done better.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
It's, well, I mean, if we like it, it's because there's one or two bits that stand out.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not judging anyone for liking it. I mean, I have, I've said it before. Humor's subjective.
Yes,
someone will sit there and look at something and laugh their ass off, while I'll sit there looking at it, thinking, I've seen toast that's funnier than this, and and then it'll work the other way. I'll sit there watching a film and laughing my ass off, and the family will all be sitting around going, "What the fuck are you laughing at?" and not understanding, what I'm seeing in it. So don't get me wrong. I'm not anyone who likes this film is more than welcome to like it. I'm not judging them at all, but
I am.
No, I'm not. I'm judging them because what you like is what you like. But what I am judging is the film's, shall we say, in inverted commas, cleverness, which is what everyone seems to latch onto as a sort of like in the cult movie circles. Is this what I was going to say? This whole thing of, it's is it a documentary? Ah ha 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 ha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. It's a fair comment to make given the circumstances. I mean, but is it that clever, or is it just someone pointing at things and going, "Look, people's stupid because things happen"?
Do you know what? I think I'm going to have to use the John Carter argument on this one. Okay.
Okay.
Right. So
it's an always dangerous maneuver with that one.
No, there is a point. There is an actual point to this, right?
Yeah, go on.
John Carter, when it came out as a novel, right, was kind of ahead of its time. It's stuff that had never been done before, and people really enjoyed it.
Right.
Out comes the movie. From what I understand,
60 years late.
Yeah, telling the thing, right? And people going, "Oh, well, I've seen all this before. That thing had that in it. This thing had it in it. Oh, you're just copying stuff." And it's like, well, no, it's not copying stuff. Stuff copied this. Right?
Yeah, but my counter to that is I watched it and I knew exactly the history of it. I just thought it was fucking tedious.
Well, fair enough, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My point is, maybe it was clever at the time when it came out. Maybe it was because nobody was doing stuff like this. I don't know. Well, there was very little of this sort of thing about.
Well, I think in the context of kind of mainstream American comedy movies, certainly from the late 90s onwards, this is a lot smarter than most of them.
Oh, and that I will definitely agree with.
To be in context. I mean, I went into this, I knew it was by Mike Judge, the man who gave us Beavis and Butthead, which I didn't always very much get on with because I thought that was I think that fell into the Alf Garnett trap. He was making fun of these idiots and we just lashed onto it, not realising they're being made fun of. Yeah. And detecting Idiocracy, there was a bit of that coming back out.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. But I'm not a fan of most kind of American comedy movies. Or, Adam Sandler gives me the fucking shits, and all the Judd Apatow stuff, and all all these sort of.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's that,
and I was quite relieved this wasn't going to be like that. I mean, it's not the world's cleverest comedy.
Oh no.
But I think kind of it's in context of this kind of comedy movie. It's smarter than its brethren.
Yeah, I will.
And I think for the Guardian guy, I think it was this was a word of mouth thing of when people, it has no hook or brand name, but when the girl gets out, oh, it's this movie, it's by the guy who did Beavis and Butthead, then people go and see it. And I think it's very much also, it's not aimed at cynical 50-year-olds either. It was it was aimed at a younger crowd, and that's why you do have a lot of the kind of cock jokes and knob jokes and the low hanging fruit stuff. That's because that was the market they were going for, I think.
Yeah, and that's perfectly valid. I think the thing here, I mean, just addressing that, and and also what Darren was saying about the John Carter example, is that we had seen stuff like that before. I mean, like I say, there was 5 years of Futurama before this, and then and there was things like there were like political satires, and there were there were knob gags and everything. I mean, I do take your point though. The whole thing of what you're satirizing is actually the thing that likes your stuff. Nobody's seeing the irony in being as thick as big shit, yet liking something that's as thick as big shit, if you know what I mean. But I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird. Because like you say, I saw things in it I just thought were interesting and could have been a thing on their own. But the idea of society being so stupid it's basically killing itself. I mean, yeah, okay, cool, absolutely, thumbs up. People going for a sort of Judge Judy court where whoever shouts the loudest and comes out with the biggest burn is the winner. That kind of thing. And that to me is kind of, yeah, okay, I see exactly where you're coming from there. Because why the fuck not? I mean, exactly. You see this shit all the time. As Darren said, you see like the Judge Judys and the Love Islands and the fucking Jerry Springers all over the place. And again, there's a lot to be mined on that. Sort of like taking the piss out of modern day media, the Fox News one where it's just like it's a hunk and a lady in a basque just talking rubbish.
Well, didn't they have around about that time? Wasn't there a channel doing the topless news?
Yeah,
is it live TV?
Live
it?
TV, yeah. And there was also, that was also the era when still the Sunday Sport and all that lot was still going.
Yeah.
So I get it. I get the gag, but I don't get the love of the film. If you know what I mean. To me, it just didn't land at all.
I get the gag as well. It doesn't mean that I find it funny. There's a moment where I think they have the pimp, and they get the lady to join the military to do that experiment, and it ends up that the guy who is bringing them in, like the officer bringing them in, ends up getting busted for pimping out.
Yeah, for being part of the pimp's crew in the end.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Oh wow, that's so forward thinking, because no one's corrupt, are they? It's just, I get it. Where's the joke in that? Maybe it's too close to the bone. I don't know.
Which comes back to the whole thing of, are we not laughing because we're actually living in it? Do you know what I mean?
To come back to it being prophetic, I mean, this was the first time I saw it. And I was kind of like, there's a certain part of it was kind of, a lot of this would have seemed like just outrageous and zany in 2006. But post-2006 world, where we live in a world where people will not wear a mask
because it's too
to
hard
keep themselves safe. We will not. We've got anti-vaxxers. We've got fucking flat earthers back, for Christ's sake. I mean, flat earthers used to be a bit of a joke. It was like, no one took it seriously. It was just a bit of a laugh for British eccentrics.
Yeah.
Now it's a serious conspiracy theory, and it's kind of, I think the disturbing takeaway from this movie for me was, I think, yes, people have always been dumb, but since the internet, the dumb people have been able to get together. And unfortunately, people act in a pack. It's monkey see, monkey do. If they see somebody else being as dumb as them, that encourages them to be dumber. And they take strength in the fact, well, everyone else is doing it. Yeah, so, and then that's the kind of lemming, pile down to our own destruction we're,
Yeah, I
we're living in now.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's that what's it? The pack reinforcement, isn't it? Group reinforcement.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that.
And that's the corrosive thing the internet has done.
Definitely. I mean, but that's the thing I kind of appreciate. That's what I was saying. I appreciated the ideas. I wish there was just a better film around it. Because the whole idea of anti-intellectualism, the whole idea of, devolution because of sort of overabundance of, fools, who will basically have sex until there's so many people they outnumber the sensible people, But then on the other hand, you can also go the other way and go, oh my God, this is almost like some fucking pamphlet for eugenics. You know what I mean? And you're into a completely different moral standpoint. It's just like, holy shit. Is this being shown at some kind of 21st century Nazi rallies going, the impure must be cleansed? Look, this is the future we face. Fucking hell. Hang on. Because that's the problem. If you're not laughing at it, you're kind of going, oh shit. Okay, okay then. Well, because me and Elton are just definitely negative Nellies on this one. I mean, what was the bit that really made you laugh then, Dal? Was there a bit that you kind of you were just totally,
it just made me. Most of it just made me sort of. Or I should say, bits that did make me laugh. Sad, very sad.
Yeah, go on.
There's bits and bobs that made me chuckle. Like I say, ashamedly, the bit that made me chuckle first was when they had "Ow my balls," just because it's yep, this is believable. I can see it. I can see that TV being this fucking ridiculous, this stupid. Because, well, it's already getting there.
Because it is.
I'm sure there's a Japanese game show where they kick them in the balls.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
God, yeah. I mean,
it's called Mr. Balls or something like that.
Probably a whole TikTok channel devoted to it.
Yeah. It's probably just endlessly ball kicking. Yeah,
but that's. I mean, I don't know. I see that as kind of a thing on somebody's, a star of a very famous TV show, always having their catchphrase said to them, and that person thinking they're the first ones that have ever done it. Except this is kicking someone in the balls.
But then again, as you guys have said, Jackass, I flipping loved that. Absolutely adored that.
See, that's where we diverge, because I can't stand Jackass.
Right.
Because that, to me, is the worst. That's the worst of the worst. That's almost the thing that I think that this is really kind of railing against. Is because I watched Jackass, and again, I watched it on MTV, and I'd watch 5 minutes of it and go, ha, 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 and that'll be that. And then after about 25 minutes of it, I'm just like, oh, all I'm watching is a bunch of guys who are just too drunk down the pub daring each other to do something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And that's no longer funny. That's just...
Well, that was at the height of lad culture as well, wasn't it?
Which goes back to this film in some ways, because it's got some real it's got some real bits in it where you're just sitting there going, really? Really? The whole, we've come to watch in case she doesn't put out. It's like, okay, hang on. Well, what?
That's fucking dark.
That was dark. But
that's real dark. That is.
Yeah, that had all sorts of connotations. I'm just like, okay, But then there's the sort of, I think that's part of the problem. I'm sitting there thinking there are people laughing at that, thinking that's the funniest thing ever, and that's where I go back to is it making silly people or dumbasses feel smart because they've got a bit of satire in their humor, in their dude bro humor. And that was when I was just like, and just to balance the books and put it up front. I mean, I will watch Blazing Saddles, and I know that a lot of people have a problem with that film nowadays, but I think that's got some well off color humor, but it's saying something. Whereas this feels like dude bro humor, and then it was saying something I really didn't want to think too much about. It's like, oh God. But to take Jim's point, you look at, I don't know, fucking Little Nicky or the Ridiculous Six or any of that shit that was floating around nearly the same time, and you go, well, actually, you know what? Someone's actually thought about this. So maybe there is something to it. I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place with this film. I'm not a fan, I'll be honest with you. But, But anyway, sorry, carry on. I did the same thing. I was like, oh, well, let's not be a negative Nelly, but let Darren speak, and then all of a sudden just gone.
Sorry, that was my fault.
No, it's all right. It's all right. Jim, what about you then?
For me, I think in some ways this film opens very strongly. I think, as we mentioned, the explanations of the setups of the sketch with the two different couples is probably the funniest bit in it. Once it gets to the future, it kind of does just meander a bit. It never quite makes enough of him being an average guy who's now a genius. And to be honest, he could have been running rings around them to great comic effect. But the other thing that really just made us howl with laughter was when they actually get to the time machine.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll give you that.
Now, initially, when they had the reveal of the time machine, was like this sort of, what's it, the Epcot Center style ride through history. Yeah. I was a bit disappointed because I sort of had a little bet with myself that the time machine would turn out to be a clock.
Funny enough, that's exactly what I thought. Yeah. I thought exactly that.
And so I was a bit disappointed when it was going to be a theme park ride. But when I saw the content and Charlie Chaplin as Hitler, that made me laugh on a very deep level because, I'm a student of history and I see how these things get fucking mangled and how, that is just so true. And that is probably what will happen in the future, that people will confuse Chaplin and Hitler.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, God.
And the inclusion of dinosaurs in everything just was the icing on the cake.
Yeah. Yeah. That was, I get exactly. I got that. I thought that time machine bit was quite amusing. It was just like, oh, look, because I was exactly where you are thinking, yeah, they're going to get there and it's going to be like the Mickey Mouse. It's going to be like the Swatch shop or something like that. And another dig at sort of like corporate America, Mickey Mouse watch or something. But yeah, no, the idea that, the history's been so utterly fucked up that dinosaurs and Charlie Chaplin invaded Europe in 1945 because, Nazis were defeated by the Un.
Of the Un, yes.
The Un.
Who un-Nazified things.
Who un-Nazified things. Yeah, because you see that sort of horrible logic to the whole thing going, oh, good Lord. Oh, God. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think my overall feeling of the film can be... I think I can pinpoint a moment in this film where all my feelings were crashing together. And it's the bit where I think his tattoo gets scanned in the car, and then the car shuts down. They jump out the car and run round the corner, and all the police come along and just kick the crap out of the car, shooting the car up. And the owner of the car, I forget his name, but he stands there going, "Whoa!"
That's cool.
And then a crowd forms, and all the police are shooting their guns in the air. And I was feeling it's kind of amusing that he's got whipped up into a frenzy where he's forgotten about him being in the car and now is entertained by the violence and the loud noises in front of him.
Did you see what went on in the background?
What?
Well, there was one little thing that happened that made me laugh in that bit.
What,
right?
where the guy fires the rocket launcher back?
Yeah, it bounces off the car and suddenly you see a jetliner crashing to the ground.
Yes.
Yeah. But again, that's the thing. The ideas were kind of there. That is probably the most prophetic thing of the lot, where it's like regardless of the danger you're in, someone's going to pull out a camera and start filming the fucking thing. And from that perspective, I thought, yeah, okay, that's quite cool. Again, nice idea. You're sitting there staring at a car being mangled by a trigger happy military force, and you're still sitting there rather than running away, going, "Cool, how cool!" And I'm just like, okay, I get that. That's quite funny in terms of the idea of it. So yeah, I was down for that. But again, it goes that one step too far and shoot the plane out of the sky, and it's like, okay, that's fair enough. That's fairly amusing. Except the fact is that the special effect of that was even worse. That was just clearly a card being dragged across the screen. It was, yeah. I mean, I know they got fucked over by Fox, so I'm not going to damn them for this bad special effects, but it did look naff. It was like, if the gag don't, if the effects don't work, don't include the gag. You could cut that scene shorter by 10 seconds. You'd be no worse off. Could have just had an explosion off the distance and someone going, "Oh God," "Oh dear God, my house is on fire." Who threw this through the window? You could have done any number of things, but they went with the naff effects. But anyway, okay, I'm gonna bail on this conversation, because otherwise I'm just gonna keep piling in on it. Has anybody else got anything they want to talk about with this? Because I think my point's been made repeatedly. So anyone else want to step in and mention something?
Did anybody see the post-credit scene?
With what's his name?
With Upgrade.
Double D, Upgrade.
Yeah. I did like that when she goes looking for him in the address book, and there's something like 19,000 people now called Upgrade.
Yeah, which again feels very prescient in terms of like how many people are now called Khaleesi.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
And you go, oh God. Sorry. What about you, Jim? Got anything else you want to put forward or bring up?
Not really. I would say that I think I like Darren's idea that if they'd done it kind of more like Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 1 and actually kind of lent into the sketchiness of it.
Yeah.
That would, I think that would give them the freedom and just to do more jokes and not get sort of tangled up in a weak-ass story.
Yeah, actually, I think that's a very good point. I mean, because that is ultimately it, isn't it? It's just you're sitting there going, the story's all right. That's fine. Sorry, I'm doing it again. Back away. Any other last thoughts before we wrap it up, or anyone got anything additionally they'd like to bring up?
Nah, I'm good.
No, not for me. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep kicking it. I don't really want to do that.
No, me neither. I mean, that's the problem. I was kind of, I found myself willing it all the way along to really nail the gag. There was clearly going to be a solid whack gag that's going to just make me go, oh, yes, okay, all is forgiven. Thank you very much. That has made me, tears in the eyes kind of gag kind of thing. But then I just was just like, no, it's not doing it. I was to use the crudeness. I was constantly on the vinegar strokes, but never quite there, madam. If you want to go poo and fart jokes with this film, then let's go for it. But okay then. Well, yeah. Well, I guess if anybody else has anything to bring up, they can do it in the feedback section next week, and maybe we'll discuss it then. If you do want to send any feedback in, as ever, the place, the locations. It is, Facebook group, which is facebook.com/group/the Black Dog Podcast. The Twitter feed, which is @Black Dog Podcast. DMs are open, and then also just email, which is feedback@blackdogpodcast.com. Right. Okie dokie. So we'll wrap it up there, but not before we find out what Jim, newly minted Jim, has picked for us to watch next week. And what is it, sir?
It's a movie that's just appeared on Netflix.
Okay.
It's a tale of daring, cunning, of daring to strive with the gods themselves.
Okay.
And it's called Metal Lords.
Metal Lords.
Yes.
Okay. Is that with a Z? Is that with a Z?
No, not with a Z. I didn't go quite that far. But
you sure it's not available on the beta channel? No,
no, not that kind of metal.
All right.
But no, basically, more seriously, it's kind of a cross between, say, Stand By Me and Anvil, the story of Anvil. It's a coming of age story about kids who try to form a heavy metal band.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun.
Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I've never heard of this one before, but then I haven't opened Netflix in about a month. Cool.
That's interesting.
Okay. Has anyone heard this? Darren, have you heard of this?
No, not at all.
Elton?
No, I haven't heard of this.
Cool. Awesome. Well, there you go. Going right in the deep end now with a complete unknown, and it's the most modern film we've reviewed. So that's a good sign. Cool. And when did you watch this, Jim?
Just a couple of nights ago, in fact.
Oh, right. Okay.
And I thought,
I know exactly.
If it's my choice, I know what I'm picking.
I know what I'm picking. Oh, right. Okay. Wow. Okay. So you're going back for a rewatch, and you've only just watched it.
Yep, definitely.
That's a good sign. I'm feeling good about this. Okay. Cool. Well, so the movie is Metal Lords. It's available on Netflix here in the UK anyway, but it is a Netflix original, so probably wherever you get your Netflix is where it is. Cool. Okay, then. Well, let's wrap this up. And now it's time to move on to Pimp's Corner. And we are going to pimp out our respective podcast appearances. So we'll start with you, Jim. What's happening over in Hypnagoria land?
Well, I'm currently about maybe halfway through a series on Nosferatu.
Okay.
While on Commentary Club, we did our Easter special, which, thanks to a random search for using the word egg, landed us up with a 1970 kaiju movie, Gamera versus Jiger.
Right. As you do. I bet that's quality.
It is.
I can only imagine.
Sounds it.
Cool.
You've not lived until you've seen a giant breathing, flying turtle kick the shit out of a rather grumpy looking dinosaur who fires spears out of his horns.
Of course he does. Of course he does. Well, that colour me intrigued. Cool. All right, then. And that's all over at hypnagoria.com, yeah?
It is indeed.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. And what about you, Elton? What's happening over Rogue 2?
Nothing from me at the moment.
Okay,
Just not well enough to do anything at the moment, so haven't been able to do anything.
That's fine.
Hopefully that'll change soon.
Cool. Okie dokie. Well, nothing from me apart unless you want to hear me moaning more about Picard, in which case go over to the broadcast.libsyn.com and listen for my feedback. But I'd recommend you just listen to the podcast because it's much better than me moaning about it. At least they try and find the positives. So go over there. But I'm not really guesting. I'm just appearing as a feedbacker, really. So that's that. Darren, are you on anything at the moment?
No, just ketamine.
Oh, well, there you go. That's good to know. Cool.
What's that?
Right. Well, then, in which case, we shall leave it there. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
No problem.
And thank you all for listening. Stay safe, and we'll see you all next week to rock with the Metal Lords. Until then, take care, and we'll see you all soon. Tatty bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me down the road. It's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on.
Get out of the booth, Jack.
No, I like it in here.